Back when South Park lampooned Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, we all thought that was as low as the franchise could go, but Kathleen Kennedy had other plans. Now, following Indiana Jones The Dial of Destiny, this is truly a dead franchise. But wait, you say, Pro, there's a video game coming out. It's from a AAA developer. This is Bethesda we're talking about. What if I told you folks that it's mostly smoke and mirrors, and we're going to expose it to you in this video? Hang tight, we'll show you just how much on life support Indiana Jones is. In fact, it may be a goner. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, where we continue to explain entertainment and keep you ahead of the culture curve. This is where the corporate narrative goes to die. Dogma is not allowed here, but JFG, Fat Steven, is certainly allowed. He is the man behind all of the graphic assets and art for this channel, as well as the Valiant Renegade channel. Welcome back, Mr. Steven.
Oh, thank you for having me out of the cage. Hope we have a good show today.
That's right. Welcome out of the cage and into the pit we go, into the frying pan. And folks, here's where we're going to begin. Showing you the post-mortem on Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny, just how bad it is, because we're getting to the point of what has happened behind the scenes, we believe, when it comes to the video game that's releasing. We think we've got some new stuff. We need to show you, though, just how bad this is and why this may have precipitated a change in strategy behind the scenes. Stephen, what we're looking at right here is an image that shows what Samba TV believes was the number of U.S. households that tuned in to two movies. And it doesn't get worse than underperforming Peter Pan and Wendy. This was Peter Pan and Wendy is a debacle of monumental proportions, a Disney Plus exclusive that has been mocked, which was largely, completely just ignored. Nobody is watching Peter Pan and Wendy. It's to the point Disney would like you to forget about it, except no one remembers it already. Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny came in more than 200,000 families less in North America. Stephen, your thoughts on how bad this could possibly be? I mean, are you shocked at all that this is lower than Peter Pan and Wendy?
I'm not shocked in the slightest. We can look at these from two different examples. They're both long-known franchises, whether in fairy tales or in films and entertainment, and we're showing the downgrade and the downfall of how they're trying to push things for modern audiences, and the modern audience thing isn't working. And most people have even said this. The first 15 to maybe 30 minutes of Indiana Jones felt like Indiana Jones. And from there, it went all downhill. And then you have all the controversy with directors and all of that going after people that are hearing leaks. And it doesn't help. It has this pretense behind it that Disney, over let's say the last year and a half, has a huge vitriol towards the fan base, the viewers, the people they want money from, while accosting them at the same time. I expect numbers like this in the future to get less.
Now, if we want to take a look at something that was actually popular on Disney Plus, that would be Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, although it declined quickly and did not hold on to what it needed to hold on to. But Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, if we go back to January 30th to February 5th of 2023, Black Panther 2 managed to quadruple. That's right, folks. Quadruple Indiana Jones, its streaming numbers. And so no shocker there if we're taking a look at things that matter. What else beat Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny on Disney Plus? Well, if we go to another Samba TV number, 775,000 U.S. households watched the premiere of Miss Marvel. More people watched Miss Marvel, which is, by the way, opposite of that, the least watched Marvel live-action show we have ever seen on Disney Plus. Miss Marvel, largely seen as a complete disaster. Although we do like him on Villani, Miss Marvel still managed to outperform Indy, and not by a small amount. Stephen, this is clearly a franchise which is utterly dead. Kathleen Kennedy and James Mangold have killed it, and yet we were told that, and this has just been recently, we got this trailer and we get all this press, and this has been something that Lucasfilm, I think, has been sort of hanging their hat on and bragging about. We've got a AAA Indiana Jones game coming out. What are you talking about? Indy's doing just fine. Stephen, there's more to this story than what meets the eye, but do you think, Stephen, is there anywhere that Indiana Jones, the franchise, could now go streaming or movie-wise, or is this truly outside of the game, which we're about to discuss, is this truly a dead franchise?
The only hope that this thing has would either be an animated series like we used to get on Saturday morning Fox Kids and let actual people who know the franchise actually make half-an-hour episodes. Do something like Johnny Quest in a style, and maybe then you can probably save it or at least give it a lifeline. But as for films and that stuff, no. Keep it to books, coloring books, and keep it the hands out of multi-million dollar productions that are failing.
I think you're exactly right. Now, I want to say a big shout out for these images that we've been able to show to the audience out there and the data. Now It's Known, at Now It's Known on Twitter, also known as Mac, does a tremendous job of tracking all of this information and provided it to myself and to Jonas J. Campbell. We are very appreciative of that. Let's go to the video game now. This is what we teased out at the beginning of the video, folks. We're here to show you, but we needed to show you the amazing, horrendous level of participation we've seen in streaming for Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny. There are those out there who would try to confuse you and say, well, it was a box office failure, but I'm sure it's doing great on streaming. We needed to dissuade you of that false narrative. Many people, Stephen, became aware of the Indiana Jones game with the trailer that came out recently, and then there was this video that was released, which showed the actual developers behind the game. It's not necessarily Bethesda. It's a company called Machine Games, a different subsidiary from inside ZeniMax. And so this individual, Edward Curtis Seves, popped up inside this promotional advertising, and he talked about, we have the opportunity to tell Indiana Jones to modern audiences. And so this really caused some commotion, because people like Flash said, and my hope for the new Indiana Jones game is gone. And I have to admit, Stephen, that when I first saw the trailer for Indy, I thought we were being a little harsh. I heard some people out there who were talking about, the girl boss aspect of it, and the graphics weren't good. And I thought, honestly, for an Indiana Jones game in 2024 or 2025, just the fact they could even get a game out the door is an achievement for Lucasfilm, for Lucasfilm Games, and for anybody else who's working with this license. This has begun to change my perception on it, but this was sort of the opening door for me, Stephen, because what I discovered once I started looking into this, and once we had the team at that park place begin investigating what's going on, we found some stuff out. And it's not often that we go to Wikipedia, Stephen, but this is the easiest way to do this. We want to talk about Machine Games, because originally we were told that this was a Bethesda game, and perhaps Bethesda is doing some overview, but it largely seems that Machine Games Sweden, AB, is the company that's leading everything to do with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, that being the video game, the AAA. Mm-hmm. And this is where we get into the smoke and mirrors. I want to go down now, Stephen, and I want to take a look at, what has Machine Games made in the past. So let's take a look at these games that they've made in the past. In 2014, they made Wolfenstein: The New Order. 2015, Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. 2016, Quake: Dimension of the Past. 2017, Wolfenstein 2. You get the idea.
Yeah, I played the Wolfensteins, and I actually enjoyed them. It was the later one with the daughters that was a travesty.
Well, the interesting thing here is, Stephen, that many of these games that we're looking at, they're not original games at all.
No.
They are remasters of old games. In other words, this is a company that, by and large, has been just remastering content, and the very few new titles they've ever been given the ability to make have been middling at best. And this is the actual company that has been given the opportunity to make an Indiana Jones game. So, for example, if we go to Wolfenstein: The New Order, 2014 action-adventure first-person shooter, right? If we go down to how this was received and we go to the critical reception, let's take a look at how it scored. 7.5, 6 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 7.8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 6 out of 10. In other words, very average. On Metacritic, 81, 79, 79. This is not some sort of tremendous success. If we go to Wolfenstein: The Old Blood and we go down, what do we find out? Well, we find out that this game got a 76, 76, and a 75 out of 100 off Metacritic. Again, very, very middling. So, Stephen, we were supposed to get an Indiana Jones game from a AAA developer out of Bethesda. This was supposed to be a big, big deal. This is how it was sold to us. It turns out that it comes from a company that has far less experience in creating major AAA games and does not have. I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to be terrible, but I say that when it comes from a studio that has done less than average at best, and then you have this appearance of an individual saying modern audiences, I think it's fair to say that the best is not being thrown at making an Indiana Jones game. And after the box office collapse, and after this streaming snafu, I can understand why. Stephen, what do you know about this? What do you think about the chances this will actually be a worthwhile game to play?
See, I'm still going to play it just to see how it is. I'll put
Sure.
2 hours of investment in it. But let's take out the Wikipedia for a second and let's just look right here at the imagery. Right away, the red flags are the haircut, the body posture, the shirt, and the way they carry themselves. And the way we've seen this throughout promoting, whether it be film, video games, or anything, is a red flag that we're seeing sociopolitical agenda pushed into the franchises rather than telling the story and making the franchise entertaining. So right away, that imagery right there gives a lot of people a red flag, and that's probably where the door opened and people started doing a rabbit hole to see whether or not this is going to be legit or not. I'm not saying that imagery of this person is the red flag for all of these circumstances, but it is one of those things people are going to pick on first, because you're not hearing about the game. You're seeing someone stand here with a bunch of their own beliefs in front of a camera telling you about an Indiana Jones game for modern audiences.
Can I give a comparison, Stephen?
Sorry. Yeah,
this would be like if you were waiting for the next Madden NFL game, and the CEO of Electronics Arts, or perhaps the chief programmer, comes onto the promotional video and is decked out in Chiefs and Taylor Swift gear.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of any other team, you know that the ratings are going to be skewed at that point. And so when someone presents themselves in this way, like they want the primary thing they want to be seen here is the attire. Whatever your beliefs are, you can believe that that's a good, thing to want, that you can believe it's a great sociopolitical message. That doesn't matter. What matters is that this is the primary thing this individual wants you to see. And we have a track record now of when this is sort of the agenda of the developers, that we tend to not get quality games as a result.
It's like, let's change this out, like you're saying with Madden, and Kaepernick came out and just knelt down and then told you how great this game is going to be. It's the same thing, because you're already seeing
that's an even better comparison.
Yeah, that's their it's their platform, and not talking about the platform, and that's the issue here. So, and a lot of people are really hypersensitive to all of these things, not like emotional, but they're going to be aware, very wary where they put their dollars. Hogwarts, everyone was going against it, and everyone who wanted to give it a chance put money into it. And you can even see that with the Game Awards. Not one nomination, not one iota, and it was one of the best-selling games of last year. It's the same thing. So if you go to the trailer of this game, I watched this yesterday with my chat, and you could see that there was desync issues with the voice acting and the animations. The combat looks interesting, but
it looks staged to me. It looks
yeah. It looks like they took parts out of the movies and put it in the game, like the one where he's fist fighting that giant guy. It's the airplane scene from Raiders. Well, you know what I mean?
I get the feeling that a lot of that was so pre-rendered. Yeah. I don't know this to be true, but it just feels to me like you're going to be pressing buttons, and if you don't press the button, then it doesn't happen. You get the idea.
Quick time actions.
Exactly. It didn't seem to me to be interactive at all. And, if the game comes out and it's great, we'll come out and we'll admit, defeat and all of that and say, well, it was better than, and that would be victory, honestly. But Stephen, here I guess is where we should arrive at the end of the video, and that is that if Indiana Jones was a tremendous franchise, if the Dial of Destiny had made tons of money, if Kathleen Kennedy and James Mangold had put Short Round in it, and had a great script, and it was a successful send-off to Indy and to Harrison Ford and to John Williams and all of that, I don't think that Machine Games would have been developing this.
No.
I think that Bethesda would have been developing this. I think that this would have been given the AAA support that you would have once thought an Indiana Jones game deserved. It at least deserves the kind of developers behind it who could make, let's say, a Lara Croft game, Tomb Raider. I when this is given, and I hate to be disparaging, I'm not trying to be, but when this is given to a studio that is largely known for just remastering old games, I worry about this, and I think that it's another sign that the franchise is so damaged that other companies really aren't willing to throw their weight behind projects associated with Lucasfilm. So, Stephen, I'll give you the final thoughts on this. Tell me where I'm wrong, if so.
I don't think you're wrong. I would say I've for those that have watched me on Rumble, I've been saying this for a while now. We're in a year now where indie games, I've saying this since last year, are going to start taking over. Things like Lethal Company, and now we have Pal World, because they're putting more effort and time into creating something new or something that people want, rather than hearing the same name and title stuck onto a product that is half-assed. So we're reaching the generation of AAA is dying, and indie developers will start overtaking. It's like going to be the same rotational in a few years. I think that's where we're at right now. I don't think Lucasfilm knows what they're doing with their gaming, and their competency is their biggest problem.
Well, they don't know what they're doing
Sorry.
with a lot of different things: streaming, movies, games, everything. It seems to me.
Well,
But
they have mastered one thing, and pretty much they're like the ostrich. Their head is somewhere under the dirt.
Well, Stephen, a lot of people out there, they know that the thumbnails for this channel are, in my opinion, the very best out there, flat out, period. But they don't know you necessarily. They don't know about your insanely successful streaming of video games. Can you tell the folks where they might be able to find you on this great, big, beautiful web?
Well, you can find the main content usually on Rumble. I also stream on Twitch, YouTube once in a while. You can find live streams. They go for anywhere from 8 to 10 hours, so be prepared. I'll stream new games, and there's a bunch of new ones coming up, like Power World, Lethal Company, Enshrouded, hopefully tonight. And that's pretty much what I do. Or I'm making puppetry out of Valiant Renegade as the queen and making short videos, and you'll see that in the anniversary. But yeah,
that's right. And Stephen, before we go, you brought up the Power World. Any thoughts on the Pokemon Power World dispute that's going on right now?
Oh, are you talking about like due to the fact that Japan's copyrights versus the way the North America runs?
Yeah, just in general. I mean, there's a huge fight over that one.
I'm guessing it depends how much of an arse Nintendo wants to be and how far they're willing to push it.
We've switched to Scottish, folks. You heard it here first. Nintendo, don't be an arse. All right, Stephen, thank you so much for being here. Folks, thank you as well. Like, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below and let us know your thoughts. And for those of you who trust the channel to be safe for kiddos, just remember, tell them that arse is a word that means horse. It's a horse,
Donkey.
of course. There you go. All right, folks, we hope you have a wonderful day. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing. And as always, keep having fun.
Huh. Hey, Floral. I just wanted to let you know I have a New Year's resolution.
Okay.
Although, I don't want to say it. It might be like a wish. If I speak it, I'll break it.
Usually a resolution is spoken out loud so you can be held accountable to it. Like, my resolution is to go to thatparkplace.com and be ready to see its new facelift, and to make sure I'm always subscribed to guys like Jonas and Pro, Culture Casino, Lorena Creole, John Trent, all of them.
Well, I actually got Slade Wilson to also make a resolution.
What's that?
I'd get in too much trouble if I repeated it. He took it way further than I feel comfortable repeating.
Well, that's probably a good call. But, what's yours?
It's not to say anything mean about Jonas.
How do you plan to do that? You're an idiot.